This video is going to cover what we'll be doing in class on Friday, November 3rd, as well as Wednesday, November 8th. So if you're absent, you can use this to guide you through what we did in class that day. And I'm also going to be gone one of the blocks on the 8th, and so we're going to use this in class to make sure that we cover everything that needs to be gone over. As we go through the video, we'll have some times when we're just going to pause so that everyone can do work. The first thing I wanted to go over was giving you the answers to the homework that was due today. That was homework number 2. And I thought that potentially the first problem may have been one of the more difficult ones, so I wanted to go over that one. So it tells us here that RT bisects SU. So that tells me if this RT is bisecting SU, then I know that this is congruent to that. So because it's a bisector. And if this is 5, then that needs to be 5. So that is SV. Then I look at the situation, this perpendicular bisector theorem, where if I have these two are congruent, because this is a perpendicular bisector, so I've got the perpendicular line, the congruence here, which means it's a bisector, then that tells me that from T to these endpoints is equidistant, so these two are going to be congruent. So that means UT is congruent to ST, so this is also 23. Then they're asking for SU, so here I just need to add 5 plus 5 and get 10. And then for this little triangle over here, I have another similar situation with the perpendicular bisector. So if this is a right angle, then that means this is a right angle as well. So here now going out to this R, I've got congruency and a perpendicular line. So this is a perpendicular bisector, which means that this must be equidistant. R must be equidistant from S, and R is equidistant from U. So that makes this an 8 as well. Okay. Here's the answer to number 2. This is 3. X equals 18. This is 4. 71. So again, on these we're looking at, I have a perpendicular line that is a bisector, which makes these two equidistant, which is why we set them equal to each other, and then we're solving for Mn. So you got to plug back in to 4x plus 19 to get the actual value. And then this is 5, 48, and 6. For number 7, the key here is they tell us QT is the perpendicular bisector of PR. So that means that this is congruent to that. And then we also know because of that that this is equidistant. Q is equidistant from R and P. So here they have the congruence markings. And so that's how I can set up 4x plus 4 is equal to 7x minus 17. Because they just told us they're congruent, and we solve for x. And then we're going to come over and use this 5y minus 31 being equal to 2y plus 5, and we're going to solve for y. And then the final answer is asking us what is PT. So PT is 6x minus 2y, so then we just have to substitute our value for x in and substitute our value for y in. And there are your answers. You just have to go through all these and substitute in, plug in. Okay, these are the angle bisector problems. So I have congruency and a perpendicular line, which means that these two angles are congruent. So we set that up. X is equal to 9. Over here we have x is equal to 2. 10. Got 93. Figure out what x is and then plug in. And then For number 11 here, this should have had a mark. So then if we know that these are congruent and that that's perpendicular, then I know that these angles have to be congruent. So we set those equal, solve for x, and then plug back in to figure out BDC. Number 12, x is 5, and then the degrees that we're looking for would be 34. And then for 13, we have x is equal to 3, and the angle, or the side length, ML, is 11. So that is the homework correction. If there are any problems that anyone needed a little bit further work on, you can go ahead and just raise your hand, and then if there's someone else in the class who got the answer right that would like to help them or do the problem on the board, you can do that as well. Okay, the last thing I wanted to mention is that there will be a quiz on everything through in-centers, which is what we're going to do today, so the new material. That quiz for A-Day students will be on Monday, November 13th, and for the B-Day students it will be on Tuesday, November 14th. So that won't be the next time I see you. We'll have another class period together before you do the quiz, but I wanted you to have that kind of on your radar and be thinking about that. All right, that's it. Thanks.